All right, folks, I have 7 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call to order this regular meeting for November 18, 2025, of the Board of Commissioners of the Town of White Lake. And at this time, I would let you know that Mike Suggs had contacted us, will not be able to be here tonight. Whitley Ward also has a conflict in being able to attend tonight. I haven't heard from Dean. Dean runs perpetually late, so that's all right. He'll probably show up. But we have quorum, so we will go ahead and proceed. And at this time, I would ask that you bow your heads for our invocation. Dear Lord, we wish to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to gather here this evening to discuss the business of our town. Lord, we ask that you guide and direct us as we attempt to do your will and to do those things that are in the best interest of the citizens of this town. These things we ask in Christ's name. Amen. Okay, the next matter is the Pledge of Allegiance. And everyone in the audience is, of course, welcome to join in. I would ask Commissioner Evans if he would lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say, Bo and Sling, we're glad to have both of y'all in attendance with us tonight, and look forward to seeing y'all in December. Okay, first item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda items. Unless there are any questions about any of those, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented. Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. The next matter is the public hearing for the Stormwater Ordinance. It is required that anyone desiring to speak at tonight's meeting must sign up prior to the 7 p.m. Start. Is anyone? I will open the public hearing at this time. There is no one signed up to speak, so I will close the hearing at this time, and we will address this later on in the agenda. Agenda item number 3 on our presentations. The first item is the vaping ordinance information presentation. And Carrie, if you want, it's a pleasure to have you here with us tonight. We appreciate you being here. And if you will give us a brief presentation, we will appreciate it.
Mayor Womble and Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'd like to introduce to you Ernest Watts, who is our regional tobacco specialist for this area. We have a problem. In 2019, we did an opioids substance survey. As recently as 2024, we did a community health needs assessment. We're required to do that every 3 years. And what we found out from that, both of those, is that we have a problem. Our top 3 priorities for public health are substance abuse and mental health, diet, exercise, and nutrition, and access to care and quality care. So why is substance misuse why we're here tonight? Just recently, as of week before last, we found out that Bladen County has an increase of 167% of fentanyl-related overdose deaths. A lot of them are recurring. The overdoses are occurring here at White Lake. That's 8 deaths in Bladen County from January through August of this year, compared to 3 over the 12-month period of last year. Vaping is an entry-level drug. If you ask any school resource officer in Bladen County what one of their major problems is, they're going to tell you vaping. Mr. Watts is going to speak to you about some incidences in other counties related to vaping. We have had some overdoses here in our county on school property. Vaping is not going away. And you have the ability to help us. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Watts and then I'll close.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the opportunity. I have to at least tell you that this is one of my most favorite places as a child to go. If I took the pigs to the abattoir in Fayetteville, and if I turned the potatoes right, and I worked on the farm, I had a promise of Saturday of coming to White Lake. And
Lucky guy.
it was my Disneyland. It truly was at that time. So thank you. I'm honored. We're going to talk about, you have the ability, if you choose to limit the location of vape retailers around schools, around residential areas, around parks. And again, we've run into problems in Columbus County and Whiteville. We've got the junior high school has the vape shop on one side, within 50 feet across the street, 200 feet, there's another vape shop. Proximity to it makes it easy for young people to get a hold of. A lot of vape shops are selling fentanyl candy, fentanyl drinks. Now, this is about next year, we're going to see the drinks eliminated. There is a lobby that's working hard. The fentanyl and THC and vape industry generates about $3.8 billion in North Carolina every year. Let's go through the process of how you can eliminate. And I'm not anti-business, let me tell you. And anything we talk today does not do anything to those existing businesses that sell vapes at this time. And I'm not anti-business. We just don't want them around your kids, your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your cousins. Go to the next slide. What is in the aerosol? Well, it's not water vape. And as we get the slide again, you'll see what's inside it. There's nicotine, which is more addictive than alcohol, cocaine, or heroin in itself, New York study. There are small multiplying particles, metals in it. There is a chemical called diacetyl. Vape fluids come from the tobacco leaf. Now I cropped the top, hung it, strung it, took it to market. And even dumb old me back then knew there was something wrong because I couldn't get that gum off my hands unless I used gasoline or lava soap. Now, those of you young and 50 don't know what lava soap, it's a misnomer because it ain't soap. It's a brick and you scrape your skin off. That's how you get it off. But that's what we had to use. That goes into the lungs and that's, listen, if you're over 21, you have the right to determine what you want to do with your body. That's what the law says. I'm not standing in front of that, but we're having the impact of kids. 2 weeks ago, we had a kid OD off of a vape in Lumberton, which had fentanyl in it, an opioid. We're finding it with ketamine, which is an animal tranquilizer, and it's growing more and more difficult. Next slide, please. Metals, those types of things. And then there's the secondhand. Now, we see secondhand smoke from cigarette, cigar, and pipe. But in a vape, it's created where it's invisible, where it's not detectable, and you can't smell it. But it still has these same things. The nicotine, the metal particles, the propylene glycol, which is basically what flavors. All vapes have fruity flavors these days. A lady by the name of Christine Zorn, who had a 15-year-old son die of popcorn lung. He was an athlete in Wilmington, and basically he got popcorn lung. Basically what happens is the vapes damage the inside lining of the lungs itself. You suffocate, you drown to death because you can't respire. And he died at 15, the earliest diagnosed case of that. And he'd only vaped for 9 months. Next slide, please. These are the types of e-cigarettes that come out there. As you can see, there's a camouflage factor to it. We'll go to the next slide. That's the type we find. That's a highlighter pen we confiscated in New Bern Elementary School. A group of 5th graders were hauling out highlight pens, putting vapes inside. That on the left-hand side it looks like a memory case, and that bracelet is a vape. You see the mouthpiece at the bottom, the case where the vape goes. Next slide, please. All right, I'm gonna step on toes here. I'm afraid. I'm sorry. You see that in the middle? I bought that in Elizabethtown. It's a vaping hoodie. Instead of a string, it is a tube. They put one end in the pocket and the tube in the mouth. I was actually at an elementary school displaying that. I had a young man come up with his hoodie. And both strings were wet. Now, it wasn't a vaping hoodie, but we see young people put the strings in their mouths all the time. And that's a vaping pen. There's a reason why they disguise them. It's because kids cannot purchase them until age 18. It's because on school grounds, they are forbidden since 2008. Next slide, please. Vaping watch, vaping cup, and a vaping gun. Looks like a toy gun. Next slide, please. And then we have the nicotine candies. And they all have the same name as the product. All these have nicotine in them. It's to get them addicted off the candy when they're younger. Next slide, please. These are vape devices for marijuana, THC. More and more popular. And again, these things are designed where you can't smoke and you can't smell them. Next slide, please. Anything that could be liquefied, LSD, GHB, opioids, and ketamine can be vaped. It's such a bad situation in Montgomery County schools, kids are taking water bottles, crushing them up, putting the vape fluid inside, put it in the microwave for 15 seconds, and puffing it. They're that addicted to it. Next slide, please. Wake, back in 2023, passed the first Unified Development Ordinance. And on that next slide, basically it creates a barrier. They found a lot of retailers were downtown, they were small fronts, they were basically near schools. In the other towns we have gone into, we have found out that a lot of vapes popped up are operated by people outside the county themselves. I remember going to Tabor City, and the same people that are running the gambling parlors are running the vape shops now. Nobody of any of the vape shops in that area are local. Next slide, please. What is tobacco and hemp retail? Well, as you probably heard about, laws changed when the shutdown went through now. A lot of things that are being sold now, such as seltzers with THC in it, candies with THC, will be illegal in the next year. It's going to wind up in the courts. But you can make action. You can take action now. Next slide, please. The purpose in Wake County was to reduce the availability of youth through land use regulation. They wanted to make sure there was a buffer barrier, such as you would with alcohol, away from schools, around parks where kids are at, away from residential area. Next slide. They worked together in an ordinance. They worked with the planners in making that out. They made it and incorporated law enforcement. They incorporated the planners, the planning committee, and they also incorporated local parents. Next slide, please. They passed this amendment that all establishments had to be 1,000 feet away from schools, public parks, greenways, and residences. Now, again, I'm not anti-business. Existing vape shops or vape retailers are grandfathered into this. We don't want to stop someone who's already selling. Most are very easy to work with. I've had 2 down in Jacksonville, 1 in New Hanover County. They didn't want to sell vapes to kids. They have kids of their own. Next slide, please. Charlotte did the same thing with their UDO, affected future vape shops and tobacco. Next slide, please. UDO there is 1,000 feet. They also put a 50% buffer between all tobacco and vapor shops. You can't have one right next to the other. They also incorporated, because vapes are taxed differently by the Department of Revenue, a usage amount. So if you had a business that was not a vape shop per se, but if 13% of their total sales was vapes, they were designated as a vape shop. This particularly ran a problem in Columbus County because we had a laundromat selling vapes. Next slide, please. There are the regulations. Again, incorporated smokeless tobacco, cigars, vaping devices, e-liquid, smoking and vaping, and cradle, CBD, and hemp. and Delta 8. Delta 8 will be illegal in the next 365 days. Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10 are synthetic marijuana, and they're synthetic THC created in the lab itself. And before Congress passed with the last session, that was unregulated in North Carolina. And to the extent, because now it would be federal law, a 6-year-old could go into a vape shop and purchase Kratom, which is made from a highly psychedelic drug from Far East, or synthetic marijuana, and would not be breaking the law. Next slide, please. Jacksonville did the same thing. They put even stricter regulations on their vape shop. Next slide, please. And we worked again, the police force, the planning force, the sheriff's department. They see it on an everyday basis. The SROs in the schools, as Dr. Duncan was talking about, sees this proper problem. Right now, statistics are that 1/2 of all high school students have vaped at one time or other. 1/3 of all your middle school students have vaped at one time, and 12% of elementary schools. I have had first graders in Robson County that have been found with vapes. I've had 3rd graders selling vapes. Usually getting access by family, usually by relatives. Usually their parents vape. We've had parents come to the school after a child's been suspended and demand to get the vape they bought their child. I don't want to go on a rant, but to operate a vehicle, to operate a plane, a boat, you have to get a license. Unfortunately, in this world, there's no license for being a parent. Hopefully that you didn't record that part, I hope. That was personal. This is a copy of what Jacksonville did. We go to the next slide. And again, they did, existing retailers, unless they are sold, are grandfathered into the clause. Next slide, please. Because of that, we had Operation Vapor Trade, in which 71 total shops were raided. And of those 71, 64 had illegal vapes. Usually we get them on copyrights. But I have Snicker bars with THC or have vapes. Right now, all the middle school and high schools have vape detectors in their bag. The commanding general of Camp Lejeune made vapes illegal on the grounds and even issued an order for all the Marines and staff personnel that if they stopped by a gas station that sells vape, they could only purchase gasoline at the gas pump itself. They could not enter the grounds. Richland did the same thing, passed it. Did you see we've been successful in the entire region? Next slide, please. Theirs was restricted to 1,500 feet. Again, you got the freedom of whatever distance you. Next slide, please. This works. Land use resistance is part of the formula for eliminating youth vaping, along with pricing, promotion, advertising, disposing of that, and raising the age of sale to 21. Next slide, please. There are going to be problems. Y'all know anything's challengeable in court. But if you're thinking about enforcement, who would enforce that? You're looking at a complaint would go to the health department that is issued to me in ALE. You don't have to enforce. You don't have to go in. Next slide, please. And again, you've had the legal authority since 1976. It's when New York decided to put a buffer zone with pornographic theaters at that time. As you can see, some towns have done this already. Next, please. This is an example of the proximity to school that was within 400 feet. That was in Broughton High School. Next slide, please. And these are some of the things you can do in the zones if you want to do that. Residential, high school district. You can arrange it for however you want. Next slide, please. Timelines like this. We bring in law enforcement. We meet with your planning board if you choose to do this. We formulate something that you want, not me. Me and Dr. Duncan don't live here. You know your people, you're responsible to the people who elected you to this office. And we respect that. You choose not to do this, I respect that also. We will meet the planning board. You've got a sample of Clarkton's policy in your packet. You can change and adapt that. Human Services Board, Dr. Terry will work on them to get support for you in that respect. After the planning board finishes it, we will present it to you and make that choice. This is your decision. We're not here enforcing something. I know you get outside people trying to tell you what to do all the time. This is your town. As much as I love coming to it, it's still your town. And you know the people, you know who you have to work. Next slide, please. Wake found out that it impacted none of the existing establishments and no new ones were able to come in. Next slide, please. What's the lessons? This is just the whole community. It's not just y'all. It's the parents, it's the grandparents, it's the educators, it's the people that operate parks. It's y'all. We are entrusted with the most valuable resource in the world. That's your young people. Both my sons better men than me. And that was purely by luck. It wasn't because I was a great father. That's what we all want. It's a better world for our children and grandchildren. I don't care what side of the country, on whatever political party you adhere to, what your faith is, we all want our kids to have a better world. And not having them addicted is the first step. Next slide, please. That's my information. Y'all know how to get a hold of Dr. Terry. All we ask that you look at it. I go to schools all the time. I did 5 classes today. I got 5 tomorrow. I tell those young people, I'm in Bladen County, I said, you've had astronauts, you've had Charlie Daniels, you've had doctors, you've had lawyers, you've had great people. But all of them started because they weren't addicted. I had a young man down in South Brunswick High School that had received an appointment to the Naval Academy. And he started vaping. You know, now he's living in his mom's basement. He lost his appointment. I tell 3rd and 4th, 5th graders, and 7th and 8th, now's when you lay the foundation. And the last thing you need to do is be addicted to something in that respect. Y'all got questions? Track me down. Track Dr. Terry down. We're happy to help out. If you want to take this path with us and you want to pass something, that's good. I understand. This is your town. This is your community. And as much as I love coming here as a kid and picking up the ducks and seeing what numbers on down and getting me another cone, or you know, the old arcade where you pull the gun out on the gunslinger. I'm not from here, but I have special feelings for White Lake. And I thank you for the time today.
In closing remarks, Spartan was the first municipality in Bladen County to pass an ordinance. They went much larger than the 500 feet and even the 1,000 feet. They did their entire town in that Spartan. They said they needed business, but they didn't need that kind of business. They were in a hurry because they had a vacant building and they were afraid that another vacant school was going to go in here. Closely following that was Dublin. They also instituted the whole town of Dublin. We're currently working with Bladenboro. Their Board of Commissioners voted to take it to the Zoning and Planning Committee. The Zoning and Planning Committee approved to move forward with the process. We recently met with East Arcadia, and just last week, East Arcadia's town board voted to move forward with the zoning ordinance there. We will work with you on the process. You do have Parkland's ordinance there. And we'll meet with whomever. I want to say that we also have hired, y'all will know, Katie Evans, and she is our resource coordinator. For you, I would like for you to know that we have Recovery Bladen. There is a quantity of each of her packets. Very few of us don't know someone that has been affected by some kind of substance misuse. This is available 24/7. I encourage you to go online and see what it's about. It's a 73-page resource for prevention, treatment, and recovery for substance misuse. In addition, I have a resource guide for Healthy Bladen and also services for the health department. Tonight, we ask that you consider it, and we're available to help you.
If there's any group you need me to speak to locally, I suffer from the same condition that Abraham Lincoln talked about. When I get talking, I'm too lazy to quit. So I'm happy to speak to any group you have. Any excuse for coming quite late, I'll take that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here to present that, tonight. Folks, as they were saying, we don't, this would need to go through the, planning board, unless I'm misreading the view of the folks here, am I correct in assuming that y'all would, again, we don't have it on action, there's no action for us to take on it. Do you want us to, through the town attorney, to have her go ahead and work with the planning board to look at an ordinance? Because it's got to go through them first. It's part of our zoning ordinance, and I'm just, again, if I'm misreading it, y'all let me know, but I can't imagine that any of us here tonight aren't in favor of doing something to, we have a lot of kids that come down here in summertime, and we're certainly not an anti-business community, but we've got to look after the kids and all down here. So if there's a consensus with the board that you wish for us to proceed, we'll go ahead and let Whitney know. There is a sample ordinance in here, but of course, the planning board has to look at our current setup, help come up with the distances that are involved, as Terry's shaking her head in agreement with. And once they do that, then of course they can present it to us. So if it's all right with y'all, we'll go ahead and do that, present it to our planning board, and we'll get the ball rolling. They would probably like the opportunity of doing that, and I think you could help them with the distance figure some, because they're going to have to take a look at our business zoning district to see what is available. So we'll do that, be in touch with you on it, and we'll go ahead and get things rolling with our planning. Yes, ma'am.
Have a good night.
Thank y'all for being here tonight. Yes, sir. You too. All right. Next matter is the fiscal year 24-25, ended June 30, 2025 audit presentation. Brian Scott is here. Brian, if you will step forward and present our audit, we would appreciate it.
Good evening, and thank y'all for the opportunity. It's good to be back this one time of year. That's the last year with the rain, we're gonna go just one. Like you said, I like him, I like also. Business just one year. Thank you for your staff, Sean, Mary Jo, Tina, and all y'all did a great job of getting us everything that we needed. We certainly appreciate all the help with that. The audit has not been approved by the LGC yet. So once I get that, I'll give you the complete final copy of it. What you do have in front of you is just a little survey that I do, and then some pages that I took out of the audit that may be helpful for y'all to look at and blanks out, remember the questions, so that by the time you get the audit, certainly talk and discuss the issues you've got and thoughts. So once I get that back, I'll certainly get it for the meeting's first out. Again, y'all seen me do this for many years. I do want this to open up the summary, go to page 2, which is the audit report. Please, at some point in time, read that. Not gonna go through word for word, but just want to let you know that this is not a policing event. We don't do a audit exam. Objective of our audit is to provide an opinion on the financial statement. They are materials correct. And so that's what we've done. We don't provide absolute assurance. We do only do limited assurance because we're not able to look at every transaction that goes on with the town's books. So this does give you an idea of just professional standards and wording of the audit report. The opinion was unmodified, which doesn't sound good, but means we didn't have to modify any of your financial records. We do give you adjustments as we're going through it, and those are reviewed by management and approved. The financial summary does give you a 2-year or 1-year comparison back to 2025. Cash did go up about $300,000 to $2.2 million. Restricted cash of $160,000. That's basically power bill funds that have not been spent again. Your revenues, $2.7 million did increase over last year. Part of that was local option money came in a little bit higher. Your lake admin fee increased over last year, and some sanitation fees also. Looking at expenditures of $2.4 million. If you look to the side, 2.3 was last year's, but 240,000 of that was your COVID money that reduced the expenses in salary replacement, revenue replacement, like so. Factor that in 2.5 on $2.6 million of expenditures last year. So expenditures did decrease this year to 2.4, creating a surplus of $289,000. The surplus last year, 213,000, in a deficit of around 30,000. If it had not been for the COVID money that was spent. Giving you a total fund balance of $2.6 million. You can see the reservation, the amounts of reserve for state statute, Powell bill, public safety, following below. The amounts that y'all have assigned every year for different capital projects, capital outlay expectations. The fund balance percentage to your expenses are 61%, so it did increase 6% from last year. So you and your staff are to be commended about what's been done to continue to increase the town's financial stability. The water and sewer fund, cash of $4.7 million did increase by $400,000. Restricted cash pretty much stays the same, and that's just customer deposits that are kept on hand until they no longer have service. Revenues of $2.3 million pretty much stayed the same over last year. Grant revenue, expenditures of 1.8 did increase over last year. There were some expenses in overall water and sewer operations, but did end up with a surplus of $512,000. So fund balance increased to $8.5 billion. Fund balance appropriated, available appropriations 3.8. Any questions about any of the financial information?
Our almost 61% compared like statewide and all, pretty solid.
Yes, sir. Sir, I don't give the statewide percentage anymore because they changed the way they measure it. It's based on your budget, not population like what it used to. It gets kind of difficult to get. So, but yes, sir, fund balance is very strong. The bottom sections, your ad valorem collections, you see your total valuation of $322 million, slight increase over last year. Collection rate is 100% for motor vehicles and 97% for everything outside of motor vehicles. Keeping in mind that 2025, 26 will be done by the county, so that will alleviate some of the pressure with your staff, and then consolidate it with the yard and state of the Hardin County collection process. All right, flipping over, these are our required part communications. I mentioned your wonderful staff who worked through this engagement. Now I couldn't do those in charge of governance just to give you any of our findings or deficiencies or general comments. As again, I mentioned unmodified opinion. What we do is we come in and get an understanding of your internal control, pain areas that are risk areas that need to plan our procedures in order to come up with the modified opinion. For management, talking to them, anything that comes up, little small things, dealing with marriage over issues, and then we come to y'all with any disclosures or deficiencies, and we'll get to those in just a minute. We did have a few adjustments as we have in years past. Mary Jo reviewed those, approved them, and then posted them to y'all's books. Looking over to page 4, significant audit policies, accounting policies, we just review those, the effect of some, the adoption of things, accounting policies. There is a change in the way we report sick leave accrual. Doesn't cost y'all any money, it's just a little bit of a headache for us to determine that. Adjustment. Any significant accounting estimates, all those were reasonable and appropriate for towns and municipalities. The significant disclosures, those will be in your bound copy of the audit. They just go over accounting practices and procedures within the town. They're all similar to other municipalities in North Carolina. We had no disagreements. We had no adjustments that we proposed that were not accepted by management. Flipping over to page 10, this is another report. The report on internal control. Don't audit it, you just gain an understanding when it's come to y'all, see more deficiencies. There are 2 deficiencies this year. One dealing with segregation of duties, which Mary Jo and Sean would like to, throw me in the lake about, they have worked hard and each one of y'all have in creating a very good internal control. Still one of those things I'm just mentioning, not an issue that would affect the town in any way. The other is a property adjustment that goes back to the fixed assets. We just had to restate some of those values. Goes back to 2020, about getting into all that has water under the bridge, so to speak. It's just an adjustment that was discovered when y'all switched to your new accounting software. We started seeing some of the details that didn't carry over. Not an issue, it's just a cleanup matter, having cleanup. And that's pretty much it. Last page, just is a corrective action page, which is a corrective action plan, which is just a boilerplate type language that we tell the reader, being the local government commission, this is what is happening, this is what we're doing. So I don't expect any kickback, questions or anything. Very y'all being passed and over even close to that. So I mean, y'all the dedication y'all done is get where y'all are today. Good staff. Any questions?
Well, we're just glad to have everything caught up to date now and we're, I think, if I'm mistaken, our deadline for submission is what moved to December 31st of this year. We should be ready well before then, in this month to present it. But
And the local commission has not quite been the resource that it has in the past. I think they're focusing on the financial stability of towns and not an accounting resource as much. So they moved that deadline because it gets complicated. Get a lot of compliance work and the audit firms just can't get to it. And audit firms have decreased just because of the complexity of getting audits and audits requirements. Perfect storm, and they finally gave up and did the December 31st, which I certainly appreciate.
well, I know our staff has mentioned that they work well with you. They, I think, don't have a good process with you, and I have found our staff helpful and as they've been in class. So always. Any questions for us? If not, we thank you for being here, making that presentation. I'm glad to get a good report. That makes us feel good.
All you need.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right. Okay, next is administrative matters. We'll begin with item 4A. Sean, I'll turn that over to you and let you get started on the administrative matter.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Briefly, before I jump into number A there, or letter A, the White Lake Water AIA project update, I just want to point out to the board, Dr. Lawrence has asked me to distribute her peer review article that was recently published to the board this month as the monthly update that she normally provides. A lot of time and effort went into providing this report, so I wanted to make sure the board was aware that that was her monthly update report to the board this month. On letter A for the White Lake Water AIA project, this is 83% done now. We are nearing the end of our capital improvement plan process. We anticipate being done with that in December, which rolls us into a January 2026 deadline for a draft asset management plan. That will then be submitted to the state. Once the state approves it, that sets us up well, positions us well for the spring grant cycle, that we can start applying for some of our capital improvement plan projects and or our asset management plan projects for some grant funding at that time. If there are no questions, Mayor, that concludes the project update for this month.
Item B is appointment of Alice Ann Warren to the Recreation Advisory Board. The advisory board has made the recommendation to appoint Ms. Warren as a member to fill a vacant position with a term of November 18, 2025 through July 8, 2026. You know, we do these on a staggered basis when we fill a vacancy, and unless there are any questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve that appointment. Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item C is appointment of Paul Harris to the Water Quality and Quantity Advisory Board. The advisory board has made the recommendation to appoint Paul Harris as a member to fill a vacant position for the term of November 18, 2025 through July 8, 2026. Unless there are any questions in regard to that, I would entertain a motion to approve. Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Sean, if you would handle item 4D.
Item 4D is the North Carolina League of Municipality Property and Liability Insurance Pool Safety Grant. You recall we have one of these on our previous agenda to apply for some barricades and some safety equipment. Previously, we were notified that we have the opportunity to apply again for additional funding. This application is a 50-50 grant, which means the town contributes 50% of the funds and the North Carolina League of Municipalities will contribute the remaining 50%. That works out to be $5,000 total, so $2,500 commitment from the town, $2,500 commitment from the league. This grant would be to apply for wetsuits and boots for our first responders to aid them in high water rescues during times of natural disasters. If there are no questions, Mayor, staff would ask that the board authorize the staff to apply for the grant as presented.
Entertain a motion to approve. Second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Under our ordinances and resolutions, we have the Stormwater Ordinance, which we had previously presented. There were no comments at the beginning of the meeting at the public hearing. This is something we've been working on for some time. And it has gone through the planning board and the planning board process, and we're glad to finally have this to the point of being able to adopt our stormwater management plan. And again, part of the reason for this is again to assist in being able to control. Part of it is the nutrients that enter into the lake, and we'll continue to use it in that regard. At this time, I would entertain a motion that we approve the stormwater ordinance as contained in agenda item 5A. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank y'all for your hard work on that and getting that done, so we can go forward. Sean, if you would proceed with the resolution in item B.
Absolutely. Item B, Resolution 2026-07. This is the resolution for the closing of capital project budget ordinance 2018-02. You'll see that listed as Fund 70. What this was our lake water restoration project. This was created as a way of tracking the expenses of the alum treatment as part of the cleanup through the audit process with Thompson, Price, Scott, and Adams, and the transition to the new budget software. We are closing out this project in the event that we should need future lake treatments. There'd be a new project created to help track those funds at that time per local government accounting guidelines. And I do want to point to the board, by closing this project, there is a remaining balance of $33,265 that will roll back into unappropriated fund balance to be used as the board sees fit. If there are no questions, Mayor, staff would ask that the board adopt resolution 2026-07 as presented.
I entertain a motion to approve. Second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Sean, item C.
Item C is resolution 2026-08. This is also a resolution for closing a capital project. This is capital project budget ordinance 2019-01. This is referred to as Fund 60, which is our Phase 1 and our Phase 2 sewer sanitary improvement projects. They have been completed. Both of those two phases at least have been completed. We are in the process of paying those monies back to the state. They were both taken out as low interest loans through Department of Environmental Quality. And by closing this fund, This will allow us to start a new project when we receive funding or an appropriation for our phase 3, again, in accordance with local government accounting. And again, this is a recommendation coming from Thompson, Price, Scott, and Adams, as well as the North Carolina League of Municipalities as part of our new budget software transition. This has a remaining balance of $130,907 that will be rolled back into our enterprise fund balance to be used as the board sees fit, which is our utility funds, water and sewer. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve resolution 2026-08 as presented.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign shown, item D.
Item D is resolution 2026-09. This is a resolution directing our clerk to investigate a petition that was received by staff under General Statute Section 160A-31. This is a petition for Market Crossing LLC, which is also known as Sandy Ridge, to requesting voluntary annexation of non-contiguous annexation of the 32.91 acres. And essentially what this is directing the clerk, this resolution is directing the clerk to investigate the petition and bring forth a certificate of sufficiency to the board at a future meeting before setting a public hearing date and then determining the validity of the petition as presented. So this is the first step statutorily in an annexation process. If there are no questions, Mayor, staff would ask that the board direct the clerk to investigate the petition under resolution 2026-09 as presented.
Entertain a motion. Second,
Second.
any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign shown, item E.
Item E is resolution 2026-10. This is a resolution for acceptance of the financing terms associated with our police trucks. As you recall, we previously approved the purchase of 3 new police trucks, 2 of which came in the budget, 1 of which came as a result of an accident that was suffered recently. These 3 police trucks, as you'll see, have in your supplemental agenda items, have staff requesting terms of financing of 4.1%. That would be over 5 years. This letter in the form of a resolution is asking the LGC to approve the loan as required by North Carolina local financing laws. If there are no questions, Mayor, staff would ask that the board approve this resolution as presented.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? If none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign shown, item E.
And briefly under resolution 2026-10, the previously approved resolution, all board members will need to sign that as part of LGC protocol. So please see the clerk before you leave tonight. Item F is resolution 2026-11. This is a resolution for our hazard mitigation grant previously approved by the board. This, as a brief reminder, this grant is for $3.1 million. This is to essentially divert pump station on the east side of town and pump it directly to the wastewater treatment plant. That's the first item of the grant application. That's done so to reduce the flows coming down the main transmission line. The second part of the grant is to upgrade our wastewater treatment plant to a packaged treatment facility. This resolution is authorizing staff, particularly myself as town administrator, and Mary Jo Lennon as our finance officer / finance director to act on behalf of the town when it comes to dispersing the grant dollars if awarded. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve the resolution 2026-11 as presented.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you. Under other business, we have the departmental briefings and reports that are contained in item A, as we always do. Those are available for public inspection. The municipal complex holiday closure for Thanksgiving will be November 27th and 28th. As always, we'll have on-call water and sewer. And item C, police officer that's working with us at the present time, Kenneth Lee Moak Jr., is currently employed with us, has received his general certification, and I'm happy to report, unless something's happened today I don't know about, we're up full up to full force at this point. And Bruce, thank you for
Thank
your hard work in doing that. It's not easy these days to keep a police department in any municipality up to full staff. And congratulations on doing that. We thank you for it. Item D is the, fire department turkey Boston butt sale. Those are to be picked up on Wednesday, November the 26th. And we appreciate the fire department as always working on that and look forward to partaking of that Thanksgiving. Item E is Bladen Community College. It is recognized Town of White Lake as a sponsor of their BCC Foundation Annual Dinner. In item F, the Lumber River COG is inviting you to their legislative breakfast scheduled for December 3rd, 2025. You need to RSVP by December 1st. You need to contact town staff if you would like to attend that. Item G is the owners and management of Camp Clearwater have extended their thanks to everyone, including White Lake Police and Fire Department, who helped make their 2025 harvest party a wonderful and safe event. And I think it was well attended. Don't believe there were any problems encountered. And again, we thank police and fire for helping with that. At this point, we're to the open forum section of the meeting. It's 3 minutes per citizen. Anyone wishing to address the board needs to step forward, give their name and address. You have 3 minutes to address the board.
I'd like to say something. The Water Quality and Quantity Board had access to this before their last meeting. And while I don't understand the total, the TP and the TN and the DOC and the mean chlorophyll, there are points in it that are not accurate. And this is going to become the record. A peer-reviewed article sort of becomes what we look at from here moving forward. One of the things that concerned me was where she says 85% of the lake was covered with hydrilla in just prior to the alum treatment. And that's not accurate.
Well, that's what the state provided to us now, in all fairness. I mean, we can dig that out if you need it. I don't know if it was or not. The state presented documentation to us that said it was 85% covered shortly before we did the alum treatment. And all I can tell you is I didn't go out there and measure it myself. I'm assuming you did either. I had to rely on the state for what they said, and they did do a survey on it, and their report was that it was 85%, just to let you know.
Okay, I'd like to see their report. Thank you.
Sure.
Another thing, she said that the White Lake residents have always expressed a hands-off message to state agencies. As a resident, I've never felt that way. So it's her opinion, but I still don't like that it's in a peer-reviewed article that's going down as this is the way it was. And then she says White Lake Friends are looking at improving lakeshore aesthetics as it relates to lake-wise boating, which is not accurate either. So while these things that are in plain English are incorrect, I'm not sure what the other parts of it, the science that I don't understand, are not correct. But I feel like it needs to be looked at and read, and y'all give an opinion on it too.
That's why we handed it out tonight.
Good. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Folks, that concludes our business that we have for tonight. So if there is nothing else, I would entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
No.
All opposed, like sign, we are.